So, to make the discussion exciting, I will try to ask provoking questions, and I hope the honorable participants will not be very politically correct in their answers. So I think all the people have come here for the intrigue, so feel free to share what you have. But let's start it soft. Since, as mentioned, your organizations are the ones with history, perhaps you can share a little bit. What is the experience with service design in each organization, and how did it happen so that it became a thing for Estonian Energy, for Telia, and for Liven? So perhaps we can start from the other end of the sofa.
Yeah, pioneers of service design. So we are a very special case. We used to be a monopoly, so we didn't really need to compete at all. So what forced us to do it is the liberalization of energy markets, and now we are competing. What is the experience or how design is implemented in Estonian Energy? It's not really similar. We have many companies, many subsidiary companies. But the main thing is, what we have changed, I think, is that the function of design has a seat at the table that is on par with business and engineering. I think that has been the biggest change.
Great to hear. So how has it been going in Telia?
Yeah, I think in Telia Estonia, our journey for the service design started in 2019, when our new head of design realized that actually the feedback that customers give us in UX tests are actually more about the product itself and the offer itself, not about the design and the user flows. And so she started to program, to train the business managers, to encourage them to explore the customer needs before they design the product itself. But then, well, the change wasn't really easy, and it finally led to the creation of the role of the service designer, which is now situated in the brand and customer experience department in the unit of market and communications. And also, I think it was 2021 when our Telia group focused or sort of like introduced a new initiative, CX Ambition, where all the group countries and markets actually started to service design more systematically.
Mm-hmm. Great to hear. So coming to somebody who is representing senior management of the company and driving design in the organization, Andero, what's the story of Liven?
Liven is a residential real estate developer, so we have like physical product, and at the beginning we thought that's all we need to do, have a great design and great quality, and that makes customers happy. And it was a case for many, but not for all. And we would like to understand why we can't make all the customers happy, because if you really deeply care about it, and if it's the goal for you that you want to make your customer happy, then you have this kind of curiosity to know more, to understand more. And when we're like trying to define what we do and how we do, then we came up with our slogan: we create homes with soul. It's a kind of long story, but I will focus on the word home. That the home actually ain't the place. It isn't the apartment. It's actually the feeling, what the people can feel towards a place, a land piece, or the apartment. So, and the whole question was how this feeling is being created, how we can enhance it, what we can do in this process to have it a little bit more than others, while also producing apartments. And then there our customer journey started more or less, and we looked into the design service methods and still using them not only to design the service but also for the product design, for the physical product design.
That's quite unusual to have a company that is quite literally brick and mortar to look into service design. And I think today also the first two keynotes were kind of happy stories. And I think everybody here in the room knows that implementing service design, well, it doesn't usually go smoothly from the first try or the second or, well, a few more. So I would invite you guys to share openly. So during these years, has it ever backfired? So were there any kind of particularly traumatic, well, let's use the F word, failures, that you can share with us today? And maybe some learnings that you took away from it. Let's start from Andero.
Yeah, I mean, you always have failures. And the question is, how big is the failure? You just want to minimize it as much as possible. But I think when we started the journey, we have pretty, when we studied our customers and thought how we can create this home feeling, how we can enhance it, is that when we give more options to the customer, if we give them opportunity to design the home together with us, then that would enhance this ownership feeling and this is co-created and all this. And when we ask the customers about it and how many opportunities you would like to have, then you will get answer more the better. And of course, we were ready to do that, to think, okay, let's design together. You can change everything what you want to change, and so on and so on. But people were quite, they didn't say no, because you don't want to give up something. Of course, you want to have the opportunities to change everything. But then it was the case like you want to buy a suit, for example. You go to the tailor and you don't want to design it completely yourself. You actually want the tailor to design the suit for you, and you maybe would value if you could like change the length of the sleeve, for example, according to your personal body type and so on. But you could want to taste different, try different things before you decide and so on. So it was kind of trouble that we put customers. They were quite confused. They did many changes that actually weren't the best ones, I would say, and we were like trying to handle it somehow and turn something back and kind of discuss together with the customer that maybe it's not the best idea and so on, because we were still the professionals who be responsible at the end of the day. Would you be happy or not with the product? And the biggest mess was, of course, with the contractors. And they weren't ready for this mess that you have so many private houses in one apartment building. And it took many years for us to make it more efficient and to design the process in the way that we actually could deliver it efficiently as well.
Just imagining the cost of an error in that case. If, well, with an app, there is some sort of a chance to move the button or change the color, then when the apartment building is built, I think the kind of room for changes is not that tremendous.
Yeah, but I mean, the things that we learned from this process, I would like to mention is that even if so many things went wrong, the customers still loved us for what we were doing. They kind of were unhappy about some things, but if you were there, if you were explaining and tried to be as open as possible, then you still saw that they kind of love what you do. And that motivated us to continue with this journey. Otherwise, we probably would say that, oh, that's not working, it's too expensive and it's too hard to deliver. And you see that we did it so many things wrongly, and maybe some things didn't work out, we were late and so on, and probably that's not worth of doing it again. But when we saw that even after all this mess, the customers still valued and give us a good feedback, with some expectations, of course, but that really motivated us that, okay, this is where we need to continue with, and there's a great potential when we figure out how to do it efficiently and how to more or less understand where we need to offer these options and modification opportunities, and where we need to decide ourselves, then we actually are able to do it efficiently and can deliver this extra value.
Sounds like a great work that you've managed to do. But let's hear it from Telia. Do you have any learnings that you can share with us?
Well, yeah, sure. I would share a learning about the implementation of the service design, or more on that side, as the process of the service design is iterative. But sometimes it's very difficult to align it with the expectations of the business side, or as we plan our budget usually early, and also our income. And therefore, and not in every case, but in some cases we have a very, I don't know, maybe tight or just a specific time slot for finding a solution for a customer problem and delivering and launching it. But then when like the first iteration does not go well, the idea is not maybe desirable or not viable or feasible, then you have to go back, and sometimes it's really impossible to do it, and then you just have to take the idea as it is, and then you decide that what can you do and what can you deliver and what you can't deliver, and be ready for the consequences and then for the results. And also sometimes it brings or demotivates maybe people, because they see that you have to go back, and it's so difficult to find really a good idea, and they don't understand that the new iteration would give you quite good results as well.
So do I get it right that the inertia of the organization to do things linearly kind of kills the whole essence of service design, of iterating and tweaking details and trying to get it right on the next and next and next time?
Yes, I mean, what we also do, and I guess like others do it as well, that then when you're not able to have the best solution and iterate it during the development, so you just launch it and then you iterate it after that.
Well, it's a process. Keit, I know you do a lot of reflecting of how does it go, and if there is anything that you can tweak in the future as the manager. Is there anything you can share from how it has went or it hasn't?
Yeah, like the failures, not on my watch. No, I have the long history with the company, so basically the beginning of liberalization 10 years ago, I started consulting the company first, and now I moved in-house 2.5 years ago. Maybe one thing that is on my mind is, so I have more than 25 years, I've done design, so I've seen many waves of excitement about design for different reasons. I think one boom is just ending right now. I think we have been in the design boom for 10 years, and it has changed design quite a bit. So when I started learning design, applying to the art school, it was one person, the competition was 1 to 15, so it was not many designers around there. But in that 10 years, we kind of sometimes see design as just a process, just steps to go through. But I think who is going through those steps is important, and we should not forget it. So when I moved to the in-house, there was actually design department, but head of new services and products discovered it through me. I said, yeah, we have actually. He didn't know that. And first move that I did was to get the buy-in to hire very experienced designers, actually. And I think it was 10 months after that, we had an accelerator, and I put in every team I put one experienced designer, and the same head of new services came back and said, okay, the past 9 months was just talk, but now I see what they can do. It's not only the methods, it's also who is doing it, how they understand it, actually, what the method is about, how to choose the right method, and what are the restrictions of the method. also not overreaching. Let's say I spoke to 5 people, let's do this product. It maybe will not really fly with the business people.
So you mentioned that methods are very often something at the core of the process, and very often they, after a bit, become something for the checklist. So we have done 3 interviews, we have done the profiles, we have done whatnot. How do you feel? Maybe we are at the stage of service design where the methods are not the thing anymore. Maybe we should start rebranding the everything that we are doing, because perhaps the business has been spoiled by the designers doing their post-it notes on the canvases for a while, and it's not taking seriously anymore.
Yeah, we can end up there. It's not taken seriously. So sometimes I feel it was like alchemy before that we did in closed rooms. Nobody saw, only the results in the end. And now we're showing the process. It's scary sometimes because it's a messy thing. It's not such a.
It's not an Excel
how you
table.
draw the methods. So, but then again, I don't see us as such special. We are like one function with business and engineering. So our arguments towards them are still the same. We have to have a good arguments, have to be convincing with numbers, but also experiences, how we show the experience in a boardroom, for example. So, yeah.
That's very interesting. Andero, I know that your organization approaches it in a quite interesting way. You don't have a service designer in-house, do you?
No. I think we all service designers, more or less. So our top management member is, I would say, pretty well trained in all the service design methods, and we would like to apply these methods like naturally all over the process, what we do. And I think the methods, as you already mentioned, are not the key. I mean, these are like tools, like screwdriver. I mean, that's not the point. I mean, the point is the goal, what you want to achieve. And I would say that there's 2 prerequisites to have a very good, naturally happening service design processes in a company. The first is that you really need to care about your customer. You really want to have a great customer satisfaction. If you have this motivation naturally coming from you, then the next thing you need to have this beginner's mindset. Because what we see is when people become the experts, then they see only very clear paths how to do something. And there's also about a book, I think, about it. I read it like 10 years ago, something like that. It was The Beginner's Mind. And they said that to become a grandmaster is to regain this beginner's mindset. You have the expert knowledge, but you also could think as a beginner to see many different options. You don't have a solution well defined right away. So if you have this deep wish inside you that you want to make your customers happy, and you have these grandmasters in your company who have this beginner's mindset, and if you put these together, then you will start applying service design methods, because you find them very well suited for the task.
Well, that's very well put, because I think it's a role of every service designer to actually keep this perspective of the outsider and somebody who challenges things all the time. So how does it go with Telia? Because I know you guys actually have a toolkit that you and the business people can use. They can find it on the internal network, download and work with the tools. But how does it really work out?
Well, actually, it really depends on the teams and also on the managers of the teams. That there are some teams who are really good on the business sides using the toolkit, and they really care about the customer. And at first, I was always there as a consultant or doing it together with them. But now, for some of the teams, actually, sometimes I just hear that okay, they did the customer research already, and they already know the insights, and they know what to change and so on. So I'd say that for some teams it goes very well. But for the others, you still have to explain that what is the like how does it pay off, and why do I have to think about the customer side and so on. But now we've also started again with our innovative like incubator WUNC, and I think it also helps us to get the innovation culture out there more and get more teams on board who are maybe who have been maybe a bit far away from the using service design tools and customer centricity.
Give me an honest answer on this one. Aren't you worried that the independent teams, the one that tell you that we did the customer research already and we mapped the journeys and the personas and everything, aren't you as a professional, aren't you worried that they made it wrong or they kind of had shortcuts or something?
Well, of course, I'm a perfectionist, so I always want to look into it. But as I don't know, I'd say that as I am the only service designer as a role in Telia, so I see my role more as a mentor and as a supporter than the one who does everything really perfectly. And I think that it's every business manager's goal or their responsibility to understand their customers and if they also see that if they do it right or understand the customers right and really satisfy customer needs, so also the business results come and then their KPIs are good and they are successful in their work.
Well, would like to believe so. So this has been a very kind of nice and smooth talk with all the correct answers so far, right? Let me ask you something. So I believe that this crowd is not the one to whom you have to sell the kind of idea of customer centricity and the necessity of doing things in a certain order and not developing products before you go into the insights from the customer. But at least in one of the companies present here on the stage today, what the hell, it says Energia. A few years ago, a board member shared that, they were in trouble. It was 5 or something like this years ago, that they're a little bit in trouble because from one side, customer centricity is written in the strategic documents, and it's important declaratively at least, to develop everything from the perspective of the user. But on the other end, when you get to the measuring part, the KPIs are somewhat counterproductive. So they're limiting the effort of trying something unknown. How does it work out today for you, if to talk about the measuring parts? So there still in the organizations, there are some sort of KPIs. Do they block you? Do they help you? What is the view there?
So I think we are still working on those and changing those right now. So there are quite straightforward KPIs or measures like NPS or something like that. But so where you started, that we have it's really set in strategy that we are customer centric, but it's more like what does it mean? So if I would take all the metrics because I think the main thing that we need to change, or we started to change, and the feedback I also have got from one, maybe the same board member I know, is that the cultural change. So it actually moves many metrics that are maybe not really connected to the experience, but to change the thinking also with engineers and business. It's kind of what I see our function at the moment. But we're working on exact measurements also.
So what would be the one KPI you would keep personally?
If you can give me a KPI of how culture is changing, I take it.
So we have a rare opportunity of asking the CEO what is the metrics that you would look at to say that customer centricity is paying off.
We have currently 2 of them, unfortunately not 1, but I wouldn't rate them for anything. One is, of course, the customer satisfaction index, and another is project profitability. And I think you need them both at the same time, because it's easy to have these trade-offs, that we increase the customer satisfaction, but we actually lose in the profitability, or otherwise. So the question is, or actually, the efficiency of the organization and how well we do is, could we increase them both, or at least we could increase one and not giving up in other. So that's the key. So therefore you need to have at least 2, I would say.
What about Telia? What do you measure?
Yeah, well, we measure both, but if we speak about specific initiatives, then we also look, for instance, at how many calls or reduced calls we have to the customer support on the specific topic, which could indicate that customers understand and they don't need help anymore. Or even we have had some unexpected results, like, for instance, the time has reduced when we train the new staff, because you don't need to focus on the difficult technical platform, and you can actually train the new staff on the products and maybe on delighting customers and on those kind of things. So it's very good to look at it quite broadly.
All right. I think it's the time for audience questions, and I'm specifically putting my eye on one of those. And let's say it's not very politically correct. So I think this relates to all of the sectors that you guys operate at. The question is as follows. How to introduce service design in an organization where you have a bunch of people of the new generation who feel that it's important, who know what it is, and who are up for using it. But at the same time, in the same organization, you have people with a bit more experience and particular knowledge of the industry that are not very welcoming towards that. What is your advice? Maybe let's start with Andero.
I mean, I already mentioned it, but I would indicate it again. I mean, that's a question of this beginner's mindset. Maybe you kind of should start with it with the senior management. Is it something they would embrace? Would they say that this is something that their organization needs to have the fresh look on the things that they have done the same all the time? Maybe some stories from the competitors, that how they have designed some paradigms, how they do something, or and so on. So if they are ready to admit that their organization needs a little bit more this beginner's mindset, and if they are also ready to discover again how the customers think, how the customers' journey would look like, where are the touch points, and so on. We had a great book recommendation a little bit before from the Nordic Business Forum, and I think these kinds of books would help a lot if we will decide in the organization that we will read together one book and discuss about the findings and ideas and so on. We have been doing internal strategy discussions in this way for many years, that we will read a book together and then discuss about it and see what kind of findings we could apply in our work.
I think National Library is at this point very, very happy with this answer. Thank you very much, Marit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what I have done, so we started like from the training program and for explaining all the tools and also inspiring with all the success stories and also failures as well. But I think one of the key aspects we've done together with our product teams is that the business managers and the people responsible for the product, they actually go and interview the customers. So I'm there, I'm also going and I'm helping them, and we are creating the interview questions all together, and I explain how to interview, but then they get the empathy. Otherwise, it's still that somebody else tells that the customer thinks that way.
Is it easy to convince them to do that?
Yeah.
All right, that's a change. Great. And what does Eesti Energia read books?
Yeah, we had a book club, but yeah, convincing those people who are not convinced, I think there are your main audience. You have to. The first thing is the same. It's designing internally. It's having empathy with them, understanding what their goals are, and totally include them. So. And not lecturing, not lecturing how new processes are better or design is important. It's including them and understanding and mirroring back their own kind of what they need and how design can help. You know, you're there to help their goals. So I think that's it.
I was a little bit, I have to admit, I was a little bit expecting one of the respondents to say that you have to fire all the old ones.
You can do that also.
But also helps. Thank you. So thank you very much for sharing success. And just maybe a quick point in one sentence. Going forwards in Eesti Energia, Telia, and in Liven, what will you be looking at with the service design as the next challenges?
I think last year we started, we read the book as well, with the recommendation we got, and started to map the journey in different stages and somehow map these special moments that we need to put a lot of effort into, where this feeling is being created the most, and somehow do something differently than others do, and that's what we're currently doing, and this is the current challenge what we have at the moment. So that's really great book and really inspiring.
I feel like you should stand next to the National Library booth and recommend books to people. Thank you for that. Is there anything that Telia can share as the upcoming challenges?
Probably really implementing the service design process more widely, and to all the teams, also those who are lagging behind right now. And I was also very inspired from the Will Gaidare's speech at the Nordic Business Forum, and thinking more and more about those feeling parts, as one of our CX principles is also delight me. And so we are working quite a lot about how to really delight customers in such a, I don't know, boring business as the telco.
That's really interesting. Looking forward to that. What about, is Energy going to delight us as well?
It's definitely not delighting people. It's, so we are in a change, in a huge change. The green transition, the energy system is changing totally. So, and I think the challenge for us is to show in our company that we can change too, because we didn't have before, but now we have to. So I think that's the main thing, and in the end, with that change, that we drive business value, that we're actually getting the business value out of it. Yeah.
I know for a fact that many people here in the room are currently facing very similar challenge in their organization, so I think that gives you something to discuss in the coffee break.